Let him burn!
Mike, we have to re-import terrorists to America because a judge says so. Luckily, they didn't capture Osama bin Laden because no doubt a judge would have released him right onto the streets of Manhattan. What the hell is going on here? It seems incredibly dangerous, but also really scary for our constitutional structure.
It is very dangerous and very dangerous for our constitutional structure. You're exactly right, Ben. President Trump campaigned on the facts that he's going to designate Tren de Aragua as a foreign terrorist organization, which President Trump did on Saturday. He's rounding up these terrorists. He put them on airplanes and he's sent them the hell out of our country, which he has the absolute rights and duty to do as the commander-in-chief under Article 2 of our Constitution. So not only does he have the statutory duty under this act from 250 years ago, he has the power under Article 2 of the Constitution as commander-in-chief. And you have this pattern now where these Democrat operatives and attorneys run to these Democrat activist judges and they're trying to sabotage the presidency. They're trying to sabotage President Trump because they got their asses kicked in the election on November 5th, 2024. So they don't have the House. They lost the Senate, where we have a comfortable margin supporting President Trump. President Trump has the White House. And so these activists are running to activist judges and they're trying to sabotage the presidency with these clearly unlawful temporary restraining orders. And it started, Ben, with this Judge Ali, this new radical judge on the DC District Court who barely got confirmed. He's a Canadian citizen still as a federal judge. He bragged that he's the first Muslim, he's the first Arab federal DC judge. And he tried to tell the president that he had to send $2 billion in foreign aid over the president's objection when the president wanted to do a national security review to make sure there's not waste, fraud, and abuse, to make sure that we're not funding Hamas terrorists. And so he did that. And then here we are 2 weeks later, where this DC Obama judge, Jeb Boasberg, who is supposed to be the most moderate of the radicals, but he's still a radical. He's only 90% radical instead of 100% radical. And this judge on Saturday ran into his chambers and he moonlighted as the commander-in-chief because he thought he had the power to tell the president of the United States to turn around planes full of foreign terrorists and return them to the United States. Fortunately, this did not happen. President Trump will say there may have been a misunderstanding, but I hope President Trump said F you to Judge Boasberg, Bozo, the clown judge in DC, because this judge, what he was trying to order is the most dangerous thing imaginable, interfering with an ongoing national security operation, sabotaging the presidency, putting American lives and our allies' lives in grave danger. You saw the video, Ben, with the El Salvadorian president released the video of the intense planning and security of the handoff of these terrorists from America to El Salvador. And this judge wants to tip off our enemies by alerting them that this operation is ongoing. This judge wants to tell the president he has to turn around planes in midair over the Gulf of America. Is this judge, does he understand if there's fuel in the plane? I've been saying this, Ben, unless this judge is a black trans woman, I don't think he's qualified to be an air traffic controller. So I think he's out over his skis where he thinks he can do this. And so this is so dangerous and over the top what this judge did that the Article 3 project is now calling for his impeachment and removal.
So, yes, let's get to that. How do you check this balance? I think that the Supreme Court obviously should be checking this balance, yet when the USAID question came before the Supreme Court, Amy Coney Barrett and John Roberts are like, yeah, totally. You gotta light this money on fire. President doesn't have any say over how billions of dollars of U.S. capital is spent. So that wasn't a positive result, how do you check this power? Is it actually congressional impeachments?
Yeah, I would say this to the Chief Justice John Roberts, who I know and who I like. I just have strong disagreements with his judicial philosophy, to the extent you want to call it a judicial philosophy. You have enabled this. You have caused a constitutional crisis by allowing these activist judges to sabotage Article 2 executive powers of the president. President Trump is not stealing legislative power from Congress under Article 1. President Trump is not stealing the Supreme Court's judicial power under Article 3. The president is exercising core Article 2 executive power, like, for example, making sure we're not funding Hamas terrorists to kill Americans. Or, for example, we're not pissing away $2 billion in foreign aid to go research transgender mice in Pakistan or wherever the hell USAID is spending the money. The president is taking care that our laws are faithfully executed. That is his constitutional power. That is his constitutional duty under Article 2. He's also the commander-in-chief. He's protecting Americans. And because the Supreme Court allowed Judge Ali, this self-proclaimed first Muslim Arab judge in D.C., a Canadian citizen, to get away with this 2 weeks ago on some civil procedure technicality. This was a temporary restraining order, not a preliminary injunction, according to Professor Amy Coney Barrett. So it's not immediately appealable. Because they let this judge get away with that technicality, it's not even, look, you're ordering the president to send $2 billion to a rat's nest. It's never coming back. How the hell is that a TRO? It's not temporary. This money's not coming back. But Professor Barrett said it's a TRO because the plaintiffs told her it was a TRO. So she let the money go out the door. The Chief Justice allowed it to go out the door because he's a wimp, right? So you have Professor Barrett and the wimp letting $2 billion go out the door. They thought that they were going to send a message to Judge Ali to calm down, back down. All they've done is embolden these radical Marxist judges, where this Boasberg, Bozo the Clown, thinks he can order the president of the United States in the middle of a national security operation to turn around planes and put American and allies' lives in danger. The House needs to step up now and impeach this judge to send a very powerful message that this judicial sabotage is going to end. The Chief Justice won't do his job. He's the circuit justice for D.C. He controls the D.C. courts. He's also the Chief Justice of the United States. For whatever reason, Chief Justice John Roberts doesn't want to do his job, so Congress needs to do his job for him and get these judicial saboteurs under control.
What's the limiting principle here? Because it seems like a military operation to remove a terrorist to protect the homeland, which is the charge directly given to the president when he's sworn into office, but also written right there in the Constitution as the commander-in-chief. Like, at what point do you not have injunctions against troop movements on the battlefield, Mike?
You don't. And the fact that this Boasberg, who's a smart judge, the fact that he went in on a Saturday and moonlighted as the commander-in-chief and put American and allies' lives in grave danger by just talking about the fact that this was an ongoing operation. He knew it was ongoing because he ordered the president to turn around the damn planes carrying the terrorist. What Boasberg did here was such horrifying judgment. It put American lives and our allied lives in grave danger. We're not dealing with Boasberg's illegal maids in his house, in his mansion, right? We are dealing with Trende Aragua. We are dealing with MS-13. These are the most vicious, dangerous terrorists on the planet. And Judge Boasberg, Bozo the Clown, thinks he can come in and tell the planes to turn around and everything's going to be okay because his buddies at the ACLU are worried that Trende Aragua terrorists aren't going to be able to rape and murder and kidnap and torture Americans. Apparently that's a bad thing. Look, I would say this to Judge Boasberg and all these other DC judges. It's amazing to me that you persecuted American citizens for 4 years. 4 years you persecuted them, and yes, persecuted them under the Supreme Court's Fisher ruling for trespassing and taking selfies in the Capitol. Yet, and you did nothing. You persecuted them. Yet you have these foreign terrorists who are kidnapping, robbing, raping, and murdering Americans. And you want to go into work on a Saturday and order the president to turn planes around to bring them home. You guys are out of your effing minds.
Yeah, that's such a great point, Mike. It's like they actually view the January 6th political prisoners
as a graver danger.
99.9% of them are patriots who just love this country, who actually thought that they read their First Amendment and was like, wait, redress my government grievances. Well, I mean, the Capitol building actually belongs to the people, right? So I'm going to go redress my government grievances, use my free speech. It's like, it's remarkable. They're putting terrorists ahead of and protecting and coddling terrorists before J6ers. It is a remarkable show of cards. If you're looking at like how they actually view the country.
Yeah, it's 100% lawless. Biden and Boasberg apparently want to put Tren de Aragua, an MS-13 designated foreign terrorist, in 4-star hotels, right? And put Trump grandmas in the DC gulag. This is unacceptable. And this is why the Article 3 project not only is calling for Boasberg's impeachment and removal from office. Right now, it's on our website to light up both of your senators in your rep in the House of Representatives. I am also working with Senate leadership staff to draft legislation to bring dramatic, much needed reforms to our federal judiciary, including the DC District Court. If they have all this time to persecute Americans for 4 years for January 6th, all those people are pardoned now. It sounds like they're pretty bored, and they're bored enough where they think they can moonlight as the commander-in-chief and order the president to return planes. And so it sounds like we need to start making dramatic changes to the DC District Court because they're bored and they're dangerous.
Yeah. So Babylon Bee headline, like judge appoints himself president of the United States, and it's shocking. Like many Babylon Bee headlines, shockingly accurate. At least Boasberg probably signed his own order. I don't think Joe Biden did. Donald Trump making a lot of news this morning about the auto pen scandal. We've had legal experts on the show, Mike, saying if you're non-compos matus, you don't get to say that this is a official document. This is why power of attorney exists. You have to prove these things. There's signature forging happening all the time. There's a body of law on this. What territory are we heading into here? Do you think that these pardons are real or will stand up to any type of judicial scrutiny?
So let me just say this. Pardons are very broad. The president has very broad pardon power, and I don't think it's reviewable unless that he didn't pardon them, right? And so politicians use auto pens all the time. Former presidents use the auto pen. President Trump has used the auto pen. Here's the issue. The issue is not the use of the auto pen. It's whether they were carrying out the president's will with the auto pen. Did the president authorize the person who signed the pardon with the auto pen to sign the pardon? If the president authorized someone to use the auto pen to sign the pardon, it's not a huge deal. The issue is if the president did not authorize the signature, if they are not carrying out the president's will. If it's the latter, if they are signing behind the president's back against his will, that is those are very serious crimes. You're talking forgery, obstruction of justice, conspiracy, many, many, many very serious federal crimes if you are signing things on behalf of the president behind his back without his knowledge against his will.
So do you think that Hunter Biden signed his own pardon?
Do I think Hunter Biden signed his own pardon? Maybe. I would say this until we figure out this whole pardon scandal. I would say to the House of Representatives, I would say to the Senate, Hunter Biden is pardoned, right? And so he can't claim his Fifth Amendment right against self-incrimination because he's pardoned. So drag his ass in and make him testify to the biggest scandal in American history, which is the Bidens took over $23 million from our worst enemies. It seems like every Biden was on China, Russia, Kazakhstan, Ukraine's payroll. What services did the Bidens provide for $23+ million? And what did our worst enemies get for $23 million from the Bidens?
Yeah, well, Hunter Biden has fled to Africa. So not sure if he's ever coming home, Mike. I'm not sure we'll be able ever to ask. One final parting gift for you, Mike. Your message to Amy Coney Barrett, you personally helped get her into that seat. Some people have been pretty disappointed. What's your message to her?
Well, let me clarify. I didn't pick her. I was at the Article 3 project, and after President Trump picked her, I helped confirm her. So you can't blame me for picking her. I would say
not
this.
Not blaming you, Mike. I love you, man. But what's going on there?
It's a very good question. And I would say this to both the Chief Justice and Amy Coney Barrett. Are you going to boldly and courageously follow the Constitution, or are you going to cow to the left's mob, right? And because what the left is doing is an existential threat to our country, right? They try to bankrupt Trump. They try to throw him in prison for life for non-crimes. They try to take him off the ballot unconstitutionally. They try to take off his head. Now that the American people have spoken and they've put him back into office, he has a broad electoral mandate to carry out what the American people want him to do, which is to cut waste, fraud, and abuse, to secure our border and get these terrorists the hell out of our country. And you have these Democrat radical district court judges sabotaging the presidency. I know this for a fact, that the DC district court judges, I have this inside knowledge that they are bragging about which one of these Democrat judges are going to go after President Trump and issue a TRO first, right? It's a competition among these Democrat district court judges. And if this continues to happen, if they continue to sabotage the presidency, particularly on foreign aid, particularly as commander in chief, the federal judiciary is going to lose its legitimacy. And when it loses its legitimacy, the federal judiciary loses everything, right? Because is Judge Boasberg going to send his law clerks to like parachute onto the planes and hijack them and turn them around? Because if the president and the executive branch do not carry out illegal orders from these judges, they have no legitimacy. The emperor has no clothes. And once they lose their legitimacy, they lose everything. And so I hope the Chief Justice understands how much is at stake. And I hope Justice Amy Coney Barrett understands that she's not grading law school exams at Notre Dame anymore. This is very serious stuff. We need judgment. We don't need civil procedure law professors.
All right. Well, we hope she's listening. Pretty, you have a majority, but you wouldn't know it on the court. You have a 6-3 majority on the court, Mike. These should be slam dunks.
It seems 5-4 liberals, but it should be 6-3.
Yeah, that's right. All right. Well, the man who's actually fighting to keep it 6-3, the man who's probably going to put Judge Eileen Cannon on that court. You're looking at him right here. That's a prediction, and I just want to be able to put a pin in it and say that's a prediction, and we'll bring Mike back on the show when it happens. Ladies and gentlemen, Mike Davis. Follow him. Nearly 400,000 Americans already do. And then go to the Article 3 Project. Check this out. Article 3 Project, what Mike is talking about right here, accessible for you, and that you can support the #1 conservative judicial review for how our operations happen inside of the swamp. Ladies and gentlemen, Article 3 Project, fighting for you. God bless you, Mike.
Thank you, Ben.